What's up everyone, Adam from Cape Crawlers, and today we're kicking off the FMS FCX24 Blazer build. Welcome back to the channel everybody. Revisiting the FCX24 Blazer. It's been a minute since I've done anything with this thing, mainly because we've been having a lot of fun with it stock. My son adores this truck and really wouldn't let me touch it. He didn't want me to do anything to it. He even got really upset with me when I just put wheels and tires on it. So I've had to delicately approach this build. But now I think he's in a good place where we can start tweaking this thing. He's excited to do some mods to it. So we're going to dive in and start upgrading this thing. My goal with this build is to maintain the excellent scale look of this truck. It's one of the things that I really like the most about the FCX24 Blazer is the scale look to it and the proportions of it. I just really like how they did this. I'm really happy with it. So I don't want to spoil that. I want to keep the scale realism, but there are definitely some areas of improvement that I want to tackle. Primarily stability. I want to get this thing to be more planted. I want to eliminate some of the body roll. I want to take out the bounciness from the shocks, and I want to enhance the scale looks. So why don't we jump in and take a look at the Blazer as it is right now. We'll put it on the setup table, get some baseline measurements. We'll put it on the crawler course to see how it performs. Then we'll look at our mods, throw them on, and do that all over again to see what we made for performance gains. So let's jump in and check out the Blazer. So here's the Blazer in its current state. As you can see, I've done next to nothing to it. So when I got this, I got the accessory pack that came with it during the pre-order phase when FMS released this. So I've put the upgraded bumper on it. For a brief time, I did have the cap off of it and had the roll bar with the non-functional light bar on there. But I personally like the look of it with the cap on it. So for this build, I've gone back to putting the cap on it. So this is where it is right now. You guys still got stock wheels and tires. Basically, the only thing on it is the bumper. And that's even an FMS upgrade. So basically, box stock truck here. Some of the areas that I really want to fix, as I mentioned, the bouncy suspension, that crazy body roll. We got to get rid of that. But again, I want to maintain the scale look of this thing because I love how it looks. So let's get this on the setup table. We'll do our standard setup tests, the RTI and the side hill and vertical and all that stuff. Also, we'll weigh it so we can see where our weight distribution is to give us a good starting point, and we'll kick it off. So let's get this on the setup table. So let's first check out our RTI, the Ramp Travel Index. I'm going to test our articulation here. I'd say we're just about 15.5 on the RTI, I would say. Now let's try some side hill. It's 40. Well, I'd say 43 on our side hill. Now let's try the vertical. Oh yeah, 50 is the max, I'd say. Now let's try our four-corner scale setup. You can see, if I can get this over here. Total weight is about 437 grams. Just about 50-50 weight distribution, 51 front, 49 rear. So we definitely want to try to shift that weight forward if we can to give us better climbing ability. And we want to see if we can bring that weight down to improve the vertical and the side hill. Now let's get on the course and see how it performs. All right, let's hit the course with this thing. I don't think I've had this on the course since I first got it and did my initial test. If you saw my first unboxing video and my review video, you might remember that this thing did not do very well on our course. But let's revisit it and see how it does. Always impressed by the FMS electronics. The ESC on this is excellent. There's that bounce. You see that body wobbling and bouncing all around. Getting hung up on the bumpers there. It's a major lift here going up over that gatekeeper. The portal axles, we do have good ground clearance. But again, that is a double-edged sword because that's another thing that lifts up our ride height. That front tire has not been on the ground this whole time. So we've got our work cut out for us, as we can see. Had to help it up the canyon because that was not happening. Oh, that bumper, man. Those scale looks. You pay for it in the other areas, that's for sure. There we go. This is advertised as a 124, but I still stick by the assumption that it's an 18 scale. It just looks so big on the course. Let's give the escalator a shot. This is going to be a tough one, I think, but let's see where we are. Whoa. Oh, glad we got up over that gatekeeper would be okay. I think that's all she wrote. Let's try the chute on the other side. Oh, man. Got the Jeep wave going there. Oh! Last try. Oh, no, it's not going to happen. So I am not going to attempt Hell's Gate. If we cannot make it up the chute, I'm not going to give it a shot. We might be stuck in the hot tub forever, actually. So we have some work to do, that's for sure. And I'm not mad at the Blazer. You know, it's not a hardcore crawler out of the box, that's for sure. But let's see what we can do to improve this thing. Let's go check out our mods. Now for the fun part, let's check out what we got for goodies here. I'm super excited for this. So first off, we got some new wheels and tires going on this thing. I picked up some RC Lions 1-inch beadlock wheels on Amazon. I picked these out because I love the style of these wheels. They've got this great retro look to them. Remind me of the, what are they, Krager wheels from back in the 80s and 90s, you know, at that alloy finish. These things look so reminiscent of those wheels that I grew up with in my childhood. Same way that I grew up with the Blazer. Now, so I'm really kind of still soaking in the nostalgia from this build. And I think these will just add to that with this great alloy finish. Let me open these up. Oh yeah, these are great. Nice, man, they look so much better out of the package. They got a great finish to them. These are all aluminum. You know, the stock wheels that are on this look nice and they're beadlocks, but these are plastic. So these the nice aluminum ones are a good step up. These were $20 on Amazon. That's a great deal for these wheels. We will have to bore out the center hole though to clear the FCX24 axles, but I'll do that with a drill when we get to installing them. But really love the look of these wheels. These are perfect, exactly what I was looking for. So I'm gonna wrap those wheels in these DJ Crawler tires. Now these are the same tires that I have on my scale Gladiator build. I got them for the Gladiator because they look almost exactly like my BFG KO2s that I have on my 1-to-1. But after I put them on, I realized how much I love them. Look how sticky these things are. I love these tires, and they perform excellent. So shout out to DJ Crawler for these tires. This is going to be my second set. I'm very happy with these tires. These ones feel even stickier than the ones I got for the Gladiator, and the foams feel much softer. Well, these are a 58 millimeter. They've got a nice meaty profile to them. Look at them against the stock tire. So we'll be a little bit taller than the stock tire, and these are an absolute bargain at $13 on Amazon as well. I'll link all this stuff down in the description, but these are such a good deal for these tires, and I'm super pumped with them. I might buy a couple more just to have on hand because the value you get at that price, and I'm just so impressed with these tires. So next up, I found this really nice kit while I was surfing Amazon as well, looking for my tires and wheels. I found this RC all-wheel drive brass upgrade kit for the FCX24. This entire kit was $60. It comes with your brass portal covers, front and rear. It comes with the front inner portal covers, so you've got complete brass portal housings for the front, and you've got your C-hubs also in brass for the front. I think the entire kit weighs about 79 grams, if I remember correctly. But this was a great find. I was super happy to find that also. Really nice stuff. It's heavy, feels really good. I love that it's the black brass. Also, we've actually got front and rear inner portal covers as well. So it's a complete set of portal covers at both ends and the C-hubs for the front. So this is great. I think from a weight distribution standpoint, I'll probably just put the front ones on, is what I'm thinking. I'll do the front portal covers, the C-hubs. We'll see if I put these on the back. Maybe we'll put them on, just see what our scales say, and then tweak it a little bit. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. And I wasn't intending for this to be a budget build, but really got all of this stuff for under $100. So I'm excited to see how they all work together. So I talked about the shocks. So what I'm going to do, I did not buy upgraded shocks. Rather, what I'm going to do is take advantage of the feature that FMS offers with the FCX24, and I'm going to convert the stock shocks to oil-filled shocks. Now I got some 20-weight oil that I keep on hand for my crawler shocks. This is the O-ring kit that comes with the shocks with the crawler itself. So I'm just going to convert the stock shocks because if you look at these, I've got lots of clearance. The ride height is pretty good, and I'm not really looking for a ton of articulation on this. I think it's got plenty for what I want to do with this truck, but I just want to get rid of that bounce and that crazy body roll. So I believe by converting these over to oil, this is a spare set that I have just for demonstration, converting these over to oil I think will solve all of the issues that we're having with the stock shocks, maintain that scale look again, and make for a much better overall driving experience. So that's what we're going to do. These are our mods here. So why don't we get to work, start installing these things. I think I'm going to do the shocks first because it's kind of the most tedious part. I'll show you how to do that. We'll probably do one together, and then I'll bang out the rest, and then we'll start putting the other ones on. So let's check it out. Okay, let's get into this thing. I've done 3 already, so I think I've made all the mistakes I'm going to make getting reacclimated with these, so we can dive into the 4th one together. Before we get going, I would suggest if you want a more detailed video on how to do this, check out the Shop Mini RC. He's got a great tutorial on these. But I'll show you my method the best I can, so let's jump in. Now this is a really simple process. It's not nearly as intimidating as you might think. So all we're going to use, we're going to take our 1.5 millimeter hex driver. The first thing we want to do is break the shock down. We want to take this end off. Now I don't have shock wrenches or anything, and you don't want to grab onto the shaft with pliers because if you scar this up, that's how you're going to get leaks. So to access it, what I like to do is unscrew the cap. I'm going to take my driver, put it down in here, and you wait till you feel it bite on the shock shaft, and then you can just start undoing it here. Take your end off, Then you can pull the spring off. And then we're going to pull this shock shaft right out also. We're left with the empty shock body here. Next step, we're going to pop this little cap off here, this plastic cap on the end of the shock body. Should be able to do this by hand. You might need a tiny little screwdriver, but that one came off pretty easy there. Now this is where we're going to use our O-rings that are supplied in the kit. Now, the kit comes with 3 O-rings per shock. So we're going to use 2 of the small ones and 1 of the big ones for each shock. This initial step, we're going to take the 2 small O-rings and we're going to put it in this hole here in the bottom of the shock body. Be cautious not to put these in sideways or bent up. You want to put them in as flush as you can because this is what's going to prevent your shock from leaking. So we're going to double this up. I like to put a little bit of oil on my driver to just catch those O-rings. Makes it easier. There, if you can see, those O-rings are nice and flush with the shock body. Now I'm going to put my cap back on to keep those in there. And with our 3rd O-ring, the larger one, we're just going to put this around the top of the shock where the threads are. And just press it down against this collar here. And this just acts as another seal for the tops. When you thread your cap back on, it doesn't leak from the top. So I'm going to take a shock shaft. We're going to put it back through the shock body. You want to be cautious here because you've got to slowly work your way through those O-rings. You don't want to push them out of place. Just kind of work the shock shaft through the O-rings. There we go. You'll feel it puncture. And make sure we got good smooth movement. Now we're ready to add our oil here. So I've been doing 3 to 4 drops, seems to be ideal for these things. Now I'm using my 20 weight oil. I do not have a syringe to put this in. I wish I did because this is really messy without it, but I'm just going to try to drip 3 or 4 drops consistently in here. I'm going to slowly press the shock shaft up. I want to work out the bubbles. That feels pretty good. This is where the right tools would really come in handy because to put this together now I have to put my driver inside the oil of the shock, which isn't ideal. But I'm just going to hold it upright, put the spring on, thread it back into our shock end. Going to put my cap back on. But with the spring installed, the oil in there, that feels tremendously better. So that's it. There you go. Now you got an oil-filled shock. Alright, let's check out the upgraded Blazer. Look at this thing. I love it. I'm super happy with this. We did very subtle changes to it, but I think they made a big difference. It's exactly how I wanted it to look. The 58mm DJ crawlers really fill up the wheel wells better. It still has room to go. I almost think you could drop that ride height down a little bit, but I think they look glorious on there. And the wheels, I am obsessed with these RC Lions wheels. Do these not look perfect on this build? I am so pumped with these. And the shocks, we did the oil-filled shocks. Look at that. No bounce in this thing whatsoever anymore. It's got a much more premium, refined feel to it. Very little, hardly any body roll on that thing now. I'm anxious to get this thing on the course and check out the results from this. So the upgrades all went on really easy. I'm really pleased with the RC all-wheel drive components. When these first came out, when the FCX24 first came out and RC all-wheel drive had released portal covers and things like that, I got to try them pretty early, and I really had some troubles with fitment, but I was very happy to see that they've refined and improved their FCX24 upgrades. These things went on without a hitch, very, very smooth, no issues whatsoever. What I did end up doing, so in the back, I did the portal covers only. I did not do the inner portal housings. Up front, I did all the brass. I did the C-hubs, I did the inner and outer portals, all that good stuff. So I try to keep weight towards the front. But all in all, it still looks very similar to what it did before, which is great in my opinion. That's exactly what I was looking for. I think we just added to the scale look and hopefully improve the performance. So why don't we get this on the setup table? We'll do some after measurements to see how we compared to the stock version, and then we'll get it on the course. I'm super excited to check this out, so let's get it. Okay, let's kick off our test. Let's start with the RTI. I don't expect to gain anything on the RTI because we didn't actually do anything to the suspension. We didn't add hex extensions or anything like that, so I'm not anticipating any changes here. I think we did gain a little bit, probably because the tires are bigger, so we can just climb a little bit further. So it looks like we're at 16.5 now, I would say. Looks beautiful up here, I might add. Now let's do some side hill. These are the measurements I'm really excited to check out. So we were at 43 before. The increased ride height from the tires might counteract the brass that we did, so we'll see. $40. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. We were right at 43 again by the looks of it. Now let's try the vertical. $40. This table, man, is killing me. $40, $45, $50. I'd say 54 on the verticals. We gained a little bit there. And for our last measurement, let's do our weight again. See, we're about 534 right now. So we gained almost 100 grams of weight. The bias isn't great, 54 front, 46 rear. I was hoping to improve that a little more, but we made a little bit of progress. That probably explains why we didn't gain much on the setup table results. Upgraded Blazer on the course. Here we go. Suspension moves really well. Has a much more composed feel to it and look to it, not any bounce. We'll see how this does on the course. I'm not expecting huge gains, truthfully, because we didn't improve the weight distribution a whole lot. And we still are sitting pretty high because of the tires and the way the suspension is set up. But we'll see. Maybe it'll surprise us. We got good squishy soft tires on here. We got some weight down low. Oh, little hand of God action there. Remember, we struggled mightily on this section before. We struggled on the course in general before. So I'm really hoping for some measurable gains in performance here. Ugh. We're only moments into the course runs here, and I fear that we've only done aesthetic upgrades and haven't improved any performance. Not off to a good start here. Let's move on. I love how this thing looks and drives. Without the bounce in the body, it has a much more realistic look and feel to it. And I am so obsessed with those wheels and tires. Got over the gatekeeper. Oh. Got that bumper hangs us up. Got free there. If you remember, we could not do any lines on the course before. I think this is further than we got prior, so we may be in uncharted territory here. Some wicked understeer here, ready to catch it. Cliff hanging. That's all she's got right there. Oh no. So keeping with the 3 attempt rule, I'm going to move on. I know it can do the escalator, and I'm going to work on that later on, but let's hit the chute. Remember, we could not do the chute either before. We didn't do anything on the course. Maybe we can do this one. Definitely got the chute much better. My confidence is higher after that, so I'm going to give Hell's Gate a shot here. We'll just see how far it can make it. Oh. Oh. Oh, Blazer is surprising us. Oh, last try. Let's see what we got. So we still got our work cut out for us. We were able to get the chute, so at least we got one obstacle down on the indoor course. This looks so good. Look, oh man, so good. You know, we're gonna get stuck in here too. Yeah, the bumpers get me trapped in the hot tub. But regardless of the performance that we did or did not gain, I'm still super happy with it. I love how much better it drives with the oil-filled shocks. I absolutely adore how it looks with these RC Lions wheels and the DJ Crawler tires. I mean, it's just so pumped with that. Such a improved driving experience with these mods. That was good right there. All right, I'm just tooling around having fun now. I'm going to wrap this up here. We'll hit the bench. I'll give you my final thoughts, and we'll talk about what's next for this thing. Let's talk about the Blazer. I love how it looks. I am super happy with the outcome. Very subtle changes. We just kind of enhanced the things that I really liked about it prior, built upon the already great base that we had from a scale realism perspective, and just further refined it a little bit. Got it more planted, got it more stable, took out the bounce from the friction shocks. So I'm really pumped with how this thing came out. With that said, I'm not disappointed. I am a little bummed out that we didn't see more performance gains. Still not being able to get up over the canyon on the indoor course, that kind of first vertical obstacle. Struggling on the escalator, which I know I could have got that. So I'm going to tackle the escalator this weekend, and this thing is going to make it up there. It was so close. I know we can do it. We did get the chute, however, and we made it up Hell's Gate further than I expected we did. So the more I talk about it, the more I feel like maybe we did gain a little bit more, even though on the setup table, objectively, there wasn't a whole lot of gains. We did make some improvements on the vertical and a little bit on the RTI, but that was about it. And that's really my doing, because I didn't go at this with a performance focus. It was more, like I said earlier, just enhancing the scale look. And thus we've kind of come to a crossroads with the Blazer build here. Do we continue with the scale appearance, the scale realism, or do we chase performance? I know if I take the top off, start doing some different things with weight distribution and the suspension, I'm fairly certain that I could vastly improve the performance. But I really don't want to sacrifice the looks of this thing. I just really like how it looks. I do. And so I'm kind of stuck. So we'll see where we decide to go here. Either way, I'm happy with it as it is. So next steps to be determined. But I think this first iteration was a success. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the Blazer build, and which direction should we go in? Should we continue down the scale path, or should we throw it all out the window and go for performance? Maybe we can strike a middle ground. We'll see, but I'm anxious to hear from you guys. I'll put the links in the description down below for the parts that I used in this video. As always, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next video.